What happens when you've built a course and it doesn't sell? Hi, I'm Lucy Griffiths, and I'm lucky enough to have sold over 50,000 courses. But I also know that selling can be really, really difficult. I am not a natural salesperson, and I've had to remove myself from the sales process in order to sell. And so I get it. It's uncomfortable, it's icky, and it's raw. So the way that I have removed myself from the sales process is I have constructed sales videos that do the talking for me. I've made sure that my sales pages are optimized so that they convert and sell. And I've built a sales system with emails and just a strategy so I can sell. And it's really important that you have that focus, and it can work in several of ways. So for me to sell 50,000 courses was really about ramping up using a lot of Facebook ads in order to sell a $19 product. And basically, once we'd got the sales page right, once we'd got the Facebook ads right, it was a no-brainer to sell. And it sold very, very easily. And so then it was a case of you put money into the machine and you'd double, triple that the end product. And so that is building a machine to sell, and it works amazingly. But it doesn't work for everybody, okay? So that's one way to sell. Another way to sell is by, if you have a higher priced offering, is to have a webinar. Now, loads of people I know create a webinar, and I've seen it so many times, and I've done it myself, where you have this webinar where you give away loads of training and you're telling people all this stuff, and then at the end, then you say, oh, and would you like to buy my course? Well, of course, no one's gonna buy it. And so it can be so upsetting, soul destroying, just frustrating, and so you need to create a webinar that is about recognizing pain points and offering a solution to the pain point, overcoming the reasons and blocks that somebody doesn't want to buy your product. So you're talking about that, you overcome the problem, and you say, oh, I found this solution, or I showed my client this solution, they had this outcome and they were so successful. And you do that in a multitude of ways, so that when it comes to the point when you start selling, you just say, oh, here's the name of my course, my product, and this is how much it is. And they've already said yes. They've already said, yes, I want to do this, yes. And then you're just, oh, well, here's a solution for you. There you go. And so it becomes a no-brainer. It becomes that the outcome is so simple, and they would feel silly not to take that outcome because it's so obvious that this is going to help them, that this is going to be the solution to their problems. And so if you can create your offering and create the webinar where it's so amazing and you've created such an amazing solution, then of course they're going to buy from you because you're the hero and you have solved all of their problems. So it's really important to create a webinar that solves those problems and is a no-brainer, so people go, oh yeah, of course I'm going to do that. I'd feel stupid not to buy it. The other option that is again very similar to the webinar is having a video sales letter, where again you are creating a script in such a way that people feel stupid not to buy from you because it's so punchy, so clever, so it just makes them go, yes, this is the solution, this is going to help me, yes, I need this. And so if you can create those offerings, then of course people are going to buy from you. Of course people are going to want to hear from you and learn from you. And the more that you can offer that, the greater value you have, the better your offerings will be. And it means that those sucky days of not selling and not selling your course are behind you. And that's what it's about. It's creating those offerings and then offering them on a consistent basis. It is no point having a big launch, being so burned out by it that you never sell again. I had a coach who was trying to get me to sell and do a launch every 6 weeks. Oh my God. It was hideous, okay? It was absolutely hideous. It did not work. I have an autistic child. It did not work with family life. It was impossible for us. I'm breathing deeply because it was just awful. And I didn't launch again for a year because I was so burned out. It was so sucky. It was so awful. And I have clients now. I'm working with a client at the moment who did a launch, and she turned over like about $200,000 about 3 years ago. And she's not sold a thing since because she was so burned out in the process and so overwhelmed and exhausted. She didn't go on a video again afterwards, and she's not sold. So what's the point of having this great big launch and the fancy big numbers and everyone go, oh, that's amazing, if then on the back of it, you are so burned out you don't sell again? So for me, I've completely simplified the process. I've made it that it's easy. It doesn't interfere with family life. I can do this as a single parent. I don't get stressed out. It doesn't affect my son, because if I get a bit stressy, that affects my son. And if he derails, then the whole show derails. So it's like, I need to stay steady, so he stays steady, and then we can keep the show on the road. But if he starts to wobble, then the whole thing explodes. And so for me, I couldn't do a big launch. I cannot do a big launch. I have to keep it really low key and easy. But it means it's easy enough that I can still do this, have this 3 or 4 times a year without it being a big hoo-ha craziness. It's manageable, it's easy, and it means I launch consistently and regularly, plus I have my evergreen streams of income at the same time. So I have that lovely balance. So it means that I'm not reliant on one thing. I have multiple streams of income. I have my membership, I have others, courses selling throughout the year, and that gives me a lovely consistent income. And it's that safety net. I'm not reliant on one thing. I'm not reliant on one solution to save me. It's much more steady, and it's just easier. It's so much nicer, more pleasant, less stressful, and business becomes more fun. And because you're relaxed about it all, it's like, oh, okay, great. And so the numbers aren't as sexy. It's not like, oh wow, I'm amazing, I'm going to shout about it. It's steady, consistent, it's quiet, it's lovely, and it works if you're an introvert. If you want to know more, check out that link below. And I talk loads about creating and launching and selling your online courses and memberships. So stick around if that's for you and building your online business. Please, I'd love you to subscribe, and hope to see you again soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, bye, bye.